Now, in the world of remote starters, it certainly is a quickly changing landscape with new vehicles coming out and more challenges to be able to access and install a remote starter system into. Well, leave it to one of the technology leaders at Idatastart to come up with solutions that are not only going to be reliable, also giving you much more opportunity because they've got a trick up their sleeve that'll give you more access to more vehicle coverage. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Idatastart. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and you are tuned in to CMA Networks, where we talk mobile electronics day in and day out. Of course, the days are getting shorter, and the air is getting a little cooler, so that means remote starter season is just around the corner. Now, you as a shop have to make some decisions. Which platform are you going to go with? Which platform is going to give you the most support, the most coverage, and the most opportunity? Well, today we've brought in our special guest today, Robert Di Cesare from ADS, and we're going to talk about some Idatastart technology and features that are certainly very unique and that you need to know about. So welcome to the show, Robert. What can we expect to talk about on today's Connected?
Hey, Ben. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Today we're going to talk about 4 things that we'd like everybody to know about before heading into the next remote start season. Our new Idatastart G0 platform, Weblink Hub, how that can be used, our Helix app, which we're very excited to finally launch, and a latest remote control with a rechargeable battery.
All right, Rob, really exciting stuff. I can't wait to get into with you. But first, an opportunity for our partner, SiriusXM, to remind you why it's always a great time to use it as an add-on sale. And when we come back after the break, let's get into Idatastart. We'll see you after the break.
Hey, Paul here with SiriusXM, and I'd like to talk to you about attachment selling and why the SiriusXM product is one of the best things to add, especially since we don't trade dollars with any other category. I could go through all of this, but let's hear what some of our dealers have to say.
It's an easy add-on that takes, 10, 15 minutes if we're running an antenna, 1 minute if we've got an adapter to plug it into the factory SiriusXM antenna, and it's extra money, so no brainer.
I present it to every customer because a lot of customers don't know what all they can do with Sirius. They don't know what all content they could have. It just makes too much sense not to sell it.
It creates a different customer loyalty and customer security when you explain to them why it's a better experience. Just gets them back in the door. And then the next car, they're already asking for it again. So it just keeps selling itself. It makes more sense.
Well, there you have it. You heard from our dealers. Just remember some of the best practices. Make sure you have one on display so you can demo it. Make sure you're taking advantage of our rewards program, because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're leaving even more money on the table. Make sure you got our POP up on display. And other than that, just make sure you're recommending it.
And welcome back to the show, Robert. So happy to finally get you on CMA Network. This has been the unicorn, ladies and gentlemen, of the entire industry. We bump into each other all the time at shows, but it's nice to have you here. Welcome to the show. Robert, I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of get to know you, get to know ADS a little bit for those that don't know. I mean, you guys are such a powerhouse in the industry with the type of products that you offer. Recently had the opportunity to sit with your man, Matt Yerger, and talk about some cool, integration tools that you guys have. But today, no, we're not talking integration today. We're talking remote starter, and we're going to go hardcore for you guys out there. The thing with iDataLink is that you guys seem to be always pushing the envelope when it comes to technology. There's been so many new terms and buzzwords that we're going to cover on today's show, but just talk to us a little bit about what drives you guys to really kind of be that leader in this category.
That's actually a great question. We absolutely love just getting into cars. We geek out over them. The tech teams love to take them apart. The engineers love to write code for them. And one thing we hate, I think we all agree on this, we hate leaving keys in cars. So we want to have the best solutions on the market, the ones that are fully data-driven. We want to be able to get that into the hands of installers so that we can just propagate this industry that we love so much.
One thing I'll give you guys credit for is I think you had a little bit of foresight. What I mean by foresight is, Robert, you and I, and myself included, we've been in this remote starter game from back in the day. In fact, we were just talking backstage about that. But I think something that ADS recognized a long time ago was where this industry was going. Looking at the type of vehicles that were being produced, the type of cars that are coming into the bays looking for these remote start solutions. And it was quite obvious, even back a couple of years, when the key fob came in, that was a whole deal. But now more than ever, it seems like things are getting harder. And you guys already figured that out. And I'd like to just to hear your thoughts on where you think this industry is going and why you think you're going to be a key solution to making it better.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. And it goes back more than a couple of years. I mean, back in the early 2000s, the installers that were around at that time, you guys must remember your wall of like all of these bypass modules that were kind of good maybe if a car showed up. They were definitely not good if the car didn't show up. If the car changed, you had to go in the trash. We wanted to sort of innovate at that time and bring a different experience, right? We wanted the inventory to be more valuable. We wanted the inventory to be more flexible. And we brought in Weblink. And we're going to talk about the latest iteration of Weblink later today. But that sort of thing has driven us. Like, how do we get the best vehicle coverage into the fewest modules? And what's always driven us is how do we get that into one module? We have one remote starter. We have a new remote starter this year, but it's one remote starter. We want installers to know that they can turn to an ADS product, they can grab that Idatastart off the shelf and put it into any car that shows up. That's what drives us, and that's what we're trying to do.
I think you're doing more than just try, my friend. And I think what you're referring to is a very key point, especially in today's, environment of inflation and costs going up. You're talking about consolidation of hardware. And that is something that you guys really, really have been a big cheerleader about, not only through Idatastart, but also through your Maestro platforms. So let's get into something that I will still say is new. This was only launched last year, and with going into this new season, maybe this will be new for a couple of the stores getting their hands on it now. And this is the new platform that you guys introduced last year called the G0 platform. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what makes this new G0 platform something special?
Sure. So the thing with us is obviously we're an engineering house. We like I said, we love to geek out over cars. We're not great at coming up with names. So G0 or Go, as people like to call it, it's an internal part number that kind of just stuck. It's a new remote starter that has a lot of the familiar stuff that you've expected from the past or that you've come to expect from the past. We've added an expansion port on it as well, so we can do sort of more with the module. We've added different networks that we could connect to. We've added a lot of security features as well. So it's really that one module that you can turn to that's built for efficiency, but that's also very future-proof. It works with all of our T-harnesses, and it should be the workhorse for ADS shops in the coming years.
So again, one new platform to rule them all. This is the one moving forward. So as far as you're concerned, this is going to be the go-to platform for the next few years, right?
That's exactly right. We want to have these on the shelf. We introduced them last year in sort of limited quantities, probably in the December, January timeframe. So December 24, January 2025. We want to get them out there, get a few thousand into the field to make sure that they performed as we expected them to. And they did. We were very, very thrilled with the results. And we've moved essentially all of our production to this platform for this season.
All right, so this is an all-in, guys. This is it. G0 or go, as Robert said. All right.
Go with the G0.
Go with the G0. All right, so let's segue this new platform to a new tool. I'll call it a tool that was introduced just a little bit before the G0 came out. You guys must have heard of this by now. It's called the Weblink Hub. I'm not going to take this time to go through exactly how that works and all that. If you want to check that out, guys, make sure you check out CMA Networks. Robert did a great workshop, step-by-step, on how to program the Weblink Hub. What I want to get out of you, Robert, is why is this so important that you have now this tool called the Weblink Hub and now this new platform called G0, and how the synergy between them is really going to carry us over for the next, the years to come?
So that's a great question. And Weblink has always been our tool for flashing our products. And in fact, it's for flashing any ADS-powered product, whether it's under our brand, under the Maestro brand, or some of our private label partners. Weblink has always been the thing that we use to get our know-how or our firmware onto the product so the product works in the car. Several years ago, and we're talking 10 plus years ago, we started to realize that the module could only do so much, right? There's sort of a ceiling to what the module can cost, to what shops can afford to have on their shelves, and what consumers can afford to put in their cars, essentially to bypass a key. So if you think about it, if the alternative to using one of our products is putting a key in the car, well, the product can't cost more than the key. And the hardware that was required to do a lot of the encryption that was coming out, again, 10 plus years ago, was starting to get pricey. And we innovated with a patented technology called Clone, which we used a module to take some readings rather from the car, out of the car, crunched by our servers, and that makes a firmware specifically for that car, for that application. So we're kind of using an inexpensive hardware, which is our interface module or our starter, and we're using that to go talk to the car and get some information out of it. Weblink Hub still does that, and that's a very important part of our firmware library. But we've added something else. We've added a way to take readings from the key. So now we can get readings out of the car, we can get firmware from our library, but we can also see how the key behaves with the car and craft a very custom firmware specifically for that combination. So car, key, and firmware.
Robert, I don't know if anybody could have explained it better than you just did there. I mean, that is just a really clear explanation of how this whole ecosystem that ADS has built together to make work. Really, this new web hub is really the extension of what you've already laid forth with the WebLink website and so on and so forth. Because like you said, you are custom catering a protocol specific to an application. And you're just getting more information now through the key. Do you have one there just so people get a visual of how simple this works and what that WebLink Hub actually looks like?
It's right here.
That's all it is.
Big. That's all it is. It's got some ports on the back so we can plug in little pass through for the key, and that's where the key goes. So I've got a Mazda key here, the same one that we use for the workshop. That sort of fits right in there, and we can now take readings from that key, combine them with firmware, program them onto the hardware or an accessory, and get those installs done.
Now, just to be clear, Robert, there will be instances or certain applications, I should say, that absolutely require this step, correct?
Correct.
All right. So up until now, does that mean now, I'm just extrapolating what you're saying, that up until now, there are being vehicles where a solution never existed before this?
Correct. Yeah, the solution was put a key in the car, and this key is probably $200 to $300.
Oh, maybe more. Yeah.
And you've got, you get two of them with the car,
Yeah.
you and your spouse, maybe you want one. Now you got to say, I got to go buy another one to leave in the car. Like I said earlier, we don't love doing that. And being able to see what's on here and figure out how it behaves with the car using this is really outstanding.
No more sacrificial keys.
No more
You
sacrificial.
promise there's no damage to any key that goes into the hub.
No, they go in, they come out, and they work the same way afterwards.
And it's real simple, guys. It's a USB-C connection, so the speed is there. And again, refer to that workshop. It's almost done in real time, takes no time at all, and off to the races you go. All right, that was the WebLink Hub. Beautiful add-on tool, almost must-have if you want to offer your customers more applications, which I'm sure you do. So that's what that's all about. Okay, Robert, circling back to the beginning of the show, you mentioned something about a new app. In fact, you called it the Helix app. What is it all about, and what can you tell us?
So our partners have had a lot of telematics products over the years. They've evolved a lot, and we've kind of always been focused on, how do we get how do we get our product to talk to the car? That's always been our primary focus. And we ended up wanting to sort of do a little bit more than we were seeing with our telematics partners, but we didn't have any telematics know-how, right? We were focused on the car part. What we did have, particularly from Maestro, was a lot of Bluetooth know-how. So what we decided with this latest Idatastart G0, one of the features that we've added through our expansion port is Bluetooth connectivity. And with that, we're able to use a smartphone app to get limited range control. Obviously, this sort of behaves like your second key. So when you're within Bluetooth range, you can lock, unlock, start the car, that sort of thing. But also a lot more information out of the car. So odometer readings, tire pressures, fuel levels. There's a lot that we can pull out of the car and show through an app, which is sort of stuff that wasn't really available prior through existing telematics solutions.
So there's two things I want to point out here. Number one, you said this protocol of communication between the phone and the device is now Bluetooth, correct?
Correct.
Well, I see that as a clear advantage because no longer are you dealing with range from an LTE signal. So I think that's a huge advantage right there. The other thing I want to point out is I had a chance to play with the app. And I'll tell you what, it kind of feels like the apps that come from the factory when you buy a car. It's got that OEM kind of feel to it. I'm guessing that was kind of on purpose.
Oh, that's totally on purpose. Yeah, we wanted to have something that was familiar to people. We wanted it to have an advantage for the customers, a nice clean layout, and then the access information that's unique to the Idatastart G0 platform and the advanced data.
Yeah, certainly a level up from the previous platform just in that alone. And now walk me through from an installer standpoint. Is there any extra hardware I need to add? Is there a charge to this app? How does that all work?
So there's no charge to the app. It does require an expansion module that has Bluetooth in it. So the next thing we're going to talk about later on in the show is a rechargeable remote. That remote comes with an integrated antenna that goes under the dash through an expansion port on the module. And that's got Bluetooth in it. So we're able to sort of have a dual function of that expansion port, LoRa RF for the remote, and then Bluetooth for the app.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Well, on that note, let's get to that new feature on the remote. And this ties in beautifully, like you just said. This new remote, it's got a lot of range. And I'll tell you what, it even recharges. So tell us about this brand new, funky, very cool remote control for Idatastart.
So it's a bit of a different format, right? So we've kind of, some people call it lipstick format. It's a kind of very thin looking remote. And we wanted to do something a little bit different than the traditional bulkier, bigger remotes. And part of the reason for that was, as we saw from our Mazda key, car keys from the factory are getting a lot bigger. So if you've got sort of a traditional remote, even one of the nicer ones, you know, there's a lot of heft to keep in your pocket and batteries to change and whatnot. So we wanted to kind of go with a bit of a different design. This is what we landed on. It's USB-C rechargeable. And this is, just so we have reference to it, this is the expansion port that goes in the Idatastart G0 that has Bluetooth and LoRa antenna in it. So you're not putting an antenna on the windshield. It's a nice clean install. You're not giving away that there's a starter in the car. This is what we have.
Well, listen, I don't know about calling it the lipstick remote, but I'll tell you, you're totally right. You use the word heft. Nobody likes carrying a lot of remotes. In fact, I don't even sometimes remember where I put my remote because every vehicle I have doesn't require a key turn, right? Everything's a push start. So absolutely lower profile. I love the USB-C recharge. I think that should be standard these days. Who the heck likes to change batteries? I know some of you guys are going to be mad at what I'm about to say, because I'll tell you what, how many of us rely on that customer to come back for you to change their battery, which is a great way to get customers into the store. But from a convenience side, let's be honest, we're in 2025. Everything is rechargeable at this point. All right, let's circle back to what you were saying. You just mentioned that little card or slot that you showed, that is the actual antenna, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Explain to us how that works now.
Right, so on the G0 platform, those of you who used it before, you've seen that there's these little latches on the side, and that just basically gets this little plastic door off of it. This is just branding, it's got nothing in it. But it exposes a slot for expansion. And the first accessory that we've made for that expansion slot is the LoRa, I'm holding it upside down, but the LoRa and Bluetooth cartridge. So that simply just snaps in over here, very straightforward. And now we have a remote starter that has an antenna and Bluetooth all in one that goes under the dash with a T-harness and talks to this remote when you have it on you, and your smartphone
The
when
Helix
you don't have
app.
a remote. Correct.
Got it. And just to be clear, no wire. That's
no
it.
wire. Nothing.
That's what you meant by people visually won't know that you have an alarm system or a starter.
Correct. There's no
wire
antenna
running.
stuck on the windshield. We know that installers, they take all of the time to meticulously pass that wire behind the airbag in the pillar. I'm sure everybody does that all the time. So we're kind of cutting out that effort. And it's something else to sell. It brings up the ticket price. It gives a different look of remote as well. You're right about people not wanting to carry remotes with them just because of the bulk. Obviously, you don't want to start your car at Bluetooth range in the winter, so that's when you would carry the remote with you. But in the summer, to have either extra access to the car, or popping a trunk, or just starting it from a short distance, Bluetooth is more than ample for that.
Absolutely. Last question about that new remote. What is the range that we could expect from the RF side, and what kind of battery life are we talking about?
So actually, that's a really great question. So this uses LoRa technology, and LoRa technology is consistently good for up to about a mile of range. Now, obviously, we're putting the antenna under the dash, so it's going to shorten that range a little bit. But if you think that, a mile is, I don't know, 12 to 15-minute walk, nobody's starting their car from that far. So using the LoRa technology under the dash with this remote, you still have ample range for the runtime, and it's a very, very good, consistent experience. Battery life is about 28 days, so you're recharging it every 4 weeks, every month or so.
Probably takes no time to charge either.
It's a small battery, so it doesn't take all that long to charge. USB-C, we've got those all over the house now, so it's a pretty neat experience.
Amazing. Well, listen, if you guys are just tuning in, we have Robert here from ADS. We covered 4 of the coolest, newest things coming to you from Idatastart. We talked about the new G0 platform. We talked about the Weblink Hub. We talked about the new Helix app, which is now available through Bluetooth connection. And you can get that Bluetooth connection with that new expansion port that Rob just talked about, easily installable. And you can also get the new rechargeable remote that looks like a lipstick format. Having said all that, I wanted to close this show on a high because you guys have been around for a minute and you guys are celebrating a significant year. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we were founded in January of 2005. So this January marked our 20-year anniversary. We celebrated it with our colleagues. It's nice to kind of come out of the pandemic and get everybody together finally to celebrate a big milestone. We're happy with what we've done. We've revolutionized in the car business, in the car audio business. We've revolutionized in Idatastart. It's a lot of fun to be in this industry. I know it faces a lot of challenges, but we have very, very passionate customers, very skilled and competent people that use our products all the time. And that sort of pushes us to make sure that we can deliver the solutions they need to keep this industry going forward. So we're really, really happy to be a part of it for the last 20 years and looking forward to the next 20.
I want to take this opportunity and thank my guest today, Robert from ADS, for joining us and talking to us about all these great new products and features coming to you from Idatastart. Now, if you want to find out more information, there's a lot of different websites, but I would recommend going to idatalink.com. From there, you could probably route to the other ones, but really the bulk of the information you need will be there. My takeaway, listen, guys, ADS has always been at the cutting edge of everything we do within this mobile electronics industry, whether it was for Maestro and now we're talking about Idatastart. These guys are the guys coming up with the solutions, the platforms, the technologies, and really what's next. Their whole mission is to make sure us, the stores, the installers, have the tools we need to succeed. It's evident through their new G0 platform, more evident, in fact, through the new Weblink Hub that literally is creating new opportunity for y'all. Like literally, that's what it's doing, because this thing can get you applications that you never even had access to before. Now, add to that the cool new features like the remote and the LoRa, as well as the Bluetooth functionality in the new Helix app. This is a pretty well-rounded product offering that is an amazing partnership for any store who takes Remote Starter seriously. That's it for the CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.